All right, guys, Troy, Roadside RC here. So I want to talk today around introduction to RC drift cars. Almost on a daily basis in different message forums, there's a question of, hey, RC drifting looks cool. What do you guys recommend? And invariably, it kind of comes down to a couple different scenarios. One, everybody always recommends dedicated drift car. So this is the MST RMX. The other popular one is the Yokomo DRA or some variant of it. All right, those are the ones that everybody always recommends over and over and over again every day because they are probably some of the two best platforms, easiest, most accessible rear-wheel drive RC platforms that are out there right now. But a lot of people were kind of like me before I ever got into it. What's MST as a brand? I've never heard of them. I kind of heard of Yokomo from racing, but man, if you guys know me from X Maxes and Creightons and Outcasts and Italians and stuff like that, I don't really know that much. So people seem like they're lost, they're confused, they don't really know what to do. Plus the price tag of these vehicles, it's not cheap, you know. The cheapest, easiest way to get into rear-wheel drive RC dedicated touring, dedicated drift chassis, sorry, is the MST Ready to Run vehicle. And it was just recently on special for $275, I think, is the full Ready to Run kit, but it's typically like $350 for the Ready to Run, and people are just like, man, I don't know if I want to drop that kind of money on it. So then they see stuff like this. So this is the Redcat Thunder Drift. Price on the street right now is $165. So less than half of what the cheapest rear-wheel drive entry is. And so then they start asking things like, hey, what about this Redcat Thunder Drift, Lightning Drift, also by Redcat? What about HPI E10? What about, man, what are some of the other ones out there? Tamiya TT02D. So a lot of those other ones, they're not drift chassis. They're touring chassis that somebody has slapped some drift tires on. Maybe they put like a locked rear diff in it or something like that to try to kind of get it to slide, and then called it a drift car, but it's not. And so with all of this confusion out there, people, sometimes they give up, sometimes they don't know what to do. So I want to show today the difference when you have something like a dedicated rear-wheel drive chassis versus something kind of touring, kind of drifty, much cheaper drift car. One of the things that you'll also see is people will they will really hate on these vehicles. The folks that love these hate these typically. And so if somebody brings one of those up, yeah, there'll be some derogatory comments and some things that just aren't very nice said. I obviously own both, and there's a reason for that. That's because I think they have their applications, and I'm going to try to show that today. I'm going to try to show that this is really good in certain locations. This, depending on what you're going to do, you don't need to spend the money to get the really fancy drift car. If you're going to be not drifting door to door with other people, if you're just going to be out there, maybe, you know, in the street out in front of your house, just in your garage, depending on what you're wanting to do, you can save a bunch of money and still be sliding. So here's how I'm going to demonstrate the difference of these two vehicles here for today. So if you watch this channel, you will see that very frequently I am drifting in my garage. All right, I have a big figure 8 set up over here that I use, and then I have a big course setup where I come in and I do basically an exaggerated C, and then I kick back out and I come all the way back around. So what I'm going to try to show you is the differences between how those two chassis drive here, but then I'm going to add one more. So figure 8, the big C shape, then I'm going to go out to the street. And I'm going to go out to the asphalt in front of my street, and I'm going to try to drift around there to show you the difference there. So I think that's where it's really going to highlight the difference. In here, smooth, very controlled surface. Out there, much rougher, bigger surface, all that kind of thing. So that's what we're going to see. All right, so now we did indoor figure eight. We did in the garage figure eight. We did in the garage this big kind of C shape is what I call it, for lack of a better term. And then we went outside and we ran around the street out there, driving on the asphalt out there. Now, a couple other things I want to mention, right? I think there's other locations here that you might want to consider. Is your location all the way indoor and on carpet? Is it even smaller? Are you going to want to go to a skate park? If you watch our channel, you'll notice I like to take the drift cars to a skate park. It's kind of fun. When you go to a skate park, you run the risk every time of damaging your RC. Every time. Doing that with this vehicle, man, that hurts a lot more. Doing it with this one, might send that off a jump and then not really be worried about it. So I think what we saw in here is, if I recap from my experience, the figure eight and the C course in here, the rear wheel drive drift car, so much more controllable, so much smoother, so much more precise as to where you can place it. If I had to choose one of the two vehicles, if I had to sell one and keep one, and I was talking about driving in here, or in here is a lot similar to like when we go to our local hobby shop and we drift there door to door with people, the rear wheel drive car, hands down, there's no question. Definitely, it's worth it. Just do it. Go get the ready to run kit. It's as cheap as you can get into the RC and try it. Like, that's definitely the way to go. If I didn't have a garage to drift in, if I didn't have a local track to drift in, I might just use the Thunder Drift and just kind of bum around. I'd be out in my street, I'd be in my driveway, I'd be at the skate park, and I would just enjoy it. And I'd have a whole bunch of money in my pocket that I could spend on batteries or a whole different vehicle. And so that's kind of my conclusion for this. Let me know what your thoughts are, right? Go down in the comments. If you had to pick one, which one would you do? Which one would you rather have in your area? Which one would you drive more? Let me know what you think. What did you think about this video? Is this helpful? Did this help you? Is there something more you'd like to see as far as the comparison between these two vehicles? Is there something more that you'd like to see on one of them in particular? Anything along those lines? Let me know down below. I'm happy to help. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, do all that kind of stuff. Thank you very much.